My name is Diana Shepard, and I'm the editorial director and co-founder of Divorce Magazine and a facilitator here at the Divorce School. Today, my very special guest is Dr. Sherry Myers, who is the author of Chatting or Cheating: How to Detect Infidelity, Rebuild Love, and Affairproof Your Relationship. Known as America's leading love and intimacy expert, Dr. Sherry is among the nation's most frequently quoted and interviewed relationship, infidelity, and life transition specialists. Today, we're going to be talking about infidelity in marriages and committed relationships, how to spot it, how to recover from it, and how to prevent it from happening in the future. Welcome, Dr. Sherry.
Diana, it is so wonderful to be here.
Dr. Sherry, could you discuss the different types of infidelity that could occur in a marriage?
Well, we need to define what infidelity is, because what it is breaking a promise, breaking an agreement. Infidelity is a betrayal of a promise or a trust. So infidelity can be sexual, it could be emotional, it could be having a cyber relationship with another friend. It could be watching too much pornography. There's many ways we can, if you will, cheat on our partner. And really what infidelity is being untrue to an agreement that you had together. But just to answer your question directly, yes, it could be emotional, it could be cyber, and it can be sexual. And nowadays, cyber infidelity is almost more dangerous than even physical infidelity.
For the person who was betrayed, are all types of infidelity equally bad? For instance, is cyber sex better or worse than emotional infidelity or physical infidelity?
It's funny, it changes among sexes. For most men, if their woman physically cheats on them, it's like, how dare you touch my property? This is it's not conscious, it's more unconscious. For women, when a man has loved another woman and has been intimate emotionally with another woman, sometimes that hurts even more than sexual. Because often as women, what I hear over and over again from clients is, well, he's a guy. We as women kind of accept, and maybe our parents we've learned it from, but we tend to accept physical infidelity and heal from it a little easier than our man falling in love with another woman. And for men, it's that the woman let another man touch them. That's usually where the betrayal sticks the strongest.
What are the most common infidelity warning signs or red flags that someone should look out for in their relationship?
Well, are we talking about in ourselves? Because a lot of times we might be crossing that line, but denying it. Like, let's say we have an online friend and we're spending more and more time talking to our Facebook friend, and we're starting to exchange photos and sending each other poems or talking to each other and being more and more excited. And that person's becoming more and more exciting to us than our partner. And we're wanting to spend more time texting or talking online to that person. That's crossing a line where we can write it off and go, it's only a Facebook friend, or it's only a work associate. It's no big deal. But we need to be kind of aware in ourselves of when we're crossing our own lines. And that usually is, we're titillated by this other person. We're more and more excited about this other person. We're thinking about this other person. Right now, we're comparing them with our partner and going, oh, I'm not so excited about my partner. I don't know. It's like my partner's boring compared to this other person. Be aware, because you're crossing a line. Now, how to tell if your partner is getting ready to cheat or cheating is, one, you feel the difference. It feels different. They're a little more distant. They might be changing the way they look when they leave the house. Suddenly, they're a lot more secretive. You walk in and that computer gets shut, slammed. You go, what you doing? Nothing. Just watching the tube, or Oh, I was just on the computer. Suddenly they're changing passwords. You have no access. There's a lot more secretiveness. There's a lot more busyness elsewhere. Now, it might be that they are more busy at work, but you can start feeling the difference because they're less and less and less available or interested in being at home, being with you, being with the kids, being present. They feel distracted. They feel, you just don't feel them anymore.
If you suspect that your spouse might be cheating on you, what is the best way to confront them? Or maybe confront is not the right word. Perhaps the better way to say it would be, how do you start a conversation about this possibility with your spouse?
Well, I think before you confront your partner or even think about confronting your partner, you have to think conversation, not confrontation. Because this is a conversation. If you start with you, all you're going to do is get defense. And I'm a big proponent of the 4 Ps, that you need proof, you need a plan, you need to know your purpose, and you need to be prepared. Because you can't go, you've been spending a lot of time online lately, and are you cheating on me? They're going to go, what? What are you talking about? You're paranoid. So proof is really important. You're going to need to say, who's this person? Let's say I'm the girl talking to the guy. Who's Linda? You seem to be talking to Linda a lot. Oh, she's a work associate. Really? What else is she? Like, it looks like you guys went out to dinner on this night and this night. You need proof because you're going to get denial. Nobody wants to be caught. No one's, when you go and say, are you cheating on me? They're going to go, yeah, busted. No, you're going to deny. You're not going to admit. Your partner's not going to admit. So the more proof you have, the less they're going to be able to deny. But when you are ready with the proof, you have to be prepared, because rarely, in my experience, have I seen partners just go, yep, you're right. They're going to deny. They're going to turn it around. They're going to call you paranoid. They're going to say, God, can't I do anything? Come on, it's just a friend. What's the big deal? They're going to totally try to turn it around because they don't want that little bubble burst. They don't want to be the bad person, and they don't want to change. So you have to be prepared for that. And have a plan before you even do it. What's your plan? Usually it's to get to the truth. It's to get to the bottom line. It's to find out what is happening. And you have to be prepared for the truth. That if your partner admits to infidelity, what do you need? What is it that you want? And most importantly, though, this is a conversation. It is not a confrontation. So when you approach it friendly, not angry. You have to stay cool, calm, and collected. And this is a tall order, because if you've got the proof, you are going to be totally aroused. So you have to work on yourself to be cool, calm, and collected, so it doesn't become about you. It becomes about your partner. And I'm going to give you one more piece, and write this down because it's called the Oreo cookie. And it is, when you have anything serious to talk about, it is the best way to approach any conversation that's uncomfortable. And it's starting with a positive, then the filling, which is usually what the issue or the problem is, and then always ending with a positive. So even with something like cheating and confronting your partner, going, I value our relationship. I value our marriage. I value you. However, I'm really scared right now. There are some things that have come to my attention that really scare me about us and about you. And I'd like to talk to you about them. And here they are. And then you do the conversation about the proof you found and trying to get to the truth. And then you end it with a positive. I want to find a way around this. I want to, right now I'm really upset and I'm really angry and I need some space, but I want to come back in 30 minutes or an hour and talk more about this. So you start with the positive, you lay it out, and you end with a positive and hopefulness, because that will keep the door open for both of you to continue a conversation, and it is a continuing conversation.
What kinds of reactions should you expect when you start this conversation with your spouse? You've talked about denial. Are there any other common ones?
You're so paranoid. I cannot believe, what's that over there? So it's going to be distraction. They're going to either turn it around on you. There you go again, blaming me. What, are you feeling insecure in our relationship? Don't I do enough? Didn't I take you out to dinner last night? My God, you're always asking for something else. What's up with this? Maybe I should cheat because I can never please you. So that would be one tactic. Another tactic is distraction. Just going, wait a minute, I hear something. Is baby crying right now? So there would be distraction in just trying to divert the attention. Or there would be freeze up, where they just freeze up and zip up because inside they're going, holy shit. But outside they're going, no, they're trying to look cool and calm, like it can't be true. So you have to be prepared. That's why proof is so important, because you have to be prepared for any kind of reaction. And rarely it's a unique person that just owns it first, unless your proof is so great, or unless they have been so wanting to tell you and didn't know the way to tell you.
What if your partner swears up and down on a stack of Bibles that they have been faithful to you, that this is all in your mind, that there's been no even hint of infidelity that has ever occurred? How do you know if your spouse is being truthful? I know for myself, I once had a partner who, if he said the sky was green and purple, he could do it looking straight into your eyes and you would have believed him. He was so convincing. How does someone know if their partner is telling the truth about this really sensitive subject?
Well, there's the good liars, as you were talking about, Diana, and they're hard, especially pathological liars, because pathological liars believe what they're saying. They aren't trying to pull the wool over your eyes because they're passionately believing what they're saying, which makes them so believable. But often there's body language signs for lying. One is looking down. They can't look you in the eye. They might be fidgeting. They might be like putting their hands through their hair, but it's that diversion of their body, because our body language usually is 95% of our communication. So look at the body language. If they, it is hard. There are a few people who are excellent, expert liars. But on the average, there are going to be some signs. And even if your partner doesn't own it, let's say your partner convinces you that it's not true. It's certainly okay then to start a discussion about what is cheating, what is secretiveness. Let's start becoming an open book so I never have to doubt you again, darling. And it's still the beginning of a conversation, because more importantly, around infidelity, it can be start of a whole new beginning. And once we get over our anger and our dismay about it, really, I have seen so many couples who haven't broken up over it become stronger and have a better relationship on the other side, because they started from ground zero to rebuild a truly honest, open relationship where they're both on the same page. There is no secretiveness, and they're both an open book, and where the relationship is full of communication and honesty, because that's really the only way to survive betrayal of any sort. And to start anew is not to shove it under the rug, but to begin again and rebuild a much stronger foundation. So if, unfortunately, if you out there had a partner like Diana who is very convincing and you believe them, and maybe they didn't cheat, and maybe it's still a good opportunity to have a dialogue and start a brand new relationship from this point on. Because if you're suspecting your partner, chances are there's a lot of distance. There's a lot of loneliness between you. You're not communicating. You're feeling a separation and an emotional separation. There's something between you. And it's time, whether you catch them in cheating or not, to start having that dialogue, because that's really the important dialogue to have.
With Facebook, Twitter, forums, meetup sites, it's quite easy nowadays to rediscover a long-lost love, maybe even the one that got away. Can this be just a bit of harmless diversion, or is there invariably some negative effect on the committed relationship?
Who you hook up with or connect with on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn isn't the issue. It's how you handle it. And if you're engaging in the 3 S's, that's where it becomes problematic for your primary relationship. And the 3 S's are secrecy, sharing intimacy with another, and kind of having that spark of sexual attraction. Because if you have the 3 S's, whether it be with your ex, which it's easier to ignite those things with because you have a past relationship, because there was probably sexual chemistry and experience, and you've shared intimacy, it's easy to fall into that. And the antidote is to be open about it with your partner. And if your partner is jealous, talking to your partner about why this is important to you, why you do want to reconnect with an ex, and the boundaries that are there so that it won't slip into having emotional sex with that person, that it won't slip into infidelity.
Popular songs tell us that love is a drug. Can you talk a little bit about how love and sex might act like drugs for the person engaging in infidelity?
Well, it's what happens in our brains. That's why they call it chemistry. That's why it's sexual chemistry. That's why intimacy and love gives us such a high, because there's dopamine that's getting released, which is the chemical that creates infatuation. It's also our risk-taking chemical. Oxytocin gets released, especially in women, especially women who are strong in the hormones. And that's the bonding hormone. There's testosterone, certainly more for men, but there's some in us women, and that's the sex driver. And there's norepinephrine. I always mispronounce that name, norepinephrine. But what it is an amphetamine, and that's what gives you that rush, that, whoa, what is this? And when we get excited about a person, when we feel that connection, sometimes it's just through eye contact. And it's certainly through when there's a heart contact or we're sharing something and it's getting received, that those chemicals get released into our body. So 2 things, they're problematic for 2 reasons. It could be a new person that suddenly feels like, oh my God, this is my soulmate. I haven't felt this since I was like in love a long time ago. This must be like love, because that's what it feels like. It's usually lust and chemistry, but it feels like love. And worse, the contrast with what being in a sustained, long-term in love relationship feels like. They feel totally different. And suddenly being in love doesn't feel as exciting as this chemistry that's getting released in your body. And that is what you start beginning to doubt your relationship at home, because of this chemistry that's happening in your body. And it usually takes 6 weeks to 3 months to subside. So we have to kind of be aware that when we're getting those lifts, when we're feeling kind of highs and lows, when we're getting all titillated in excitement, that's chemistry. It's not necessarily the person. It's just that person across from us or on the screen or whatever the case may be is activating something inside us that's giving us the brain dump, if you will, of this amazing chemistry.
What are the relationships vulnerabilities that might lead to infidelity?
I believe I mentioned them before, but I'm going to go through them one by one. One is lack of communication. When communication breaks down, because really, when you think about it, more than sex, we communicate. We talk more than we have sex. If we stop talking to each other, if we stop exchanging emotions and energy and truth, if we're just talking about the kids, if we're just talking about our day, if we're just talking about the surroundings or work we need to do or the trash that needs to go out, we're not connecting heart to heart. And that creates a vulnerability. Lack of intimacy, which is another part of not talking to each other, not sharing who we really, really are with one another. Feeling lonely, that there we are in the same house with the same interests, but we don't feel connected. We feel like we're roommates, not partners. Lack of sex, a sexual disconnect, certainly is a big red flag that there's a lot of separation. Boredom and complacency, looking for distraction because it's kind of boring at home and you're not talking and you're not sharing. And so you're getting your fill or excitement outside of the relationship, or you're finding yourself online more because it's more exciting seeing what's happening on Facebook than being with your partner. Those are all red flags that there's trouble in River City.
Is it really possible to affair-proof a marriage? And if so, how do you do that?
You know, when you think about what makes a good marriage, it's two people who are best friends. They talk to each other. They can't wait to be home and share with each other their days, their lives, their experience. They have mutual interests. But what feeds a day-to-day relationship is what I call the multivitamin of the 3 A's, which is attention, appreciation, and affection. And if you're getting enough of that at home, you know, it's always nice a little bit here and there, but you don't need to seek it elsewhere. So let's look at attention. When your partner comes home, how do you greet them? Do you greet them with a 20-second kiss? Or do you greet them with, hey, talk to you later because I'm busy on Facebook? So it's greeting each other. It's how you say hello. It's how you say goodbye. It's making eye contact. It's sharing your day. It's the opposite of what that list that I just went over is, which is you're talking to each other, you're sharing with each other. When you're in the room, maybe when you walk by, you touch each other and give a wink across the room. It's just having contact. It doesn't even have to be for long periods of time. It's just making contact through the day. It's sending a text, going, thinking of you. It doesn't have to be big, but it's giving each other attention, saying you're important to me. Appreciation is so important because it's so easy to focus on what's wrong or take for granted what's right. So it's telling your partner every day what you appreciate about them, or saying thank you and I'm grateful for. I am so grateful that you just did the dishes with me. I am so grateful that you took the kids to soccer. I am so grateful that you're loyal to me. I am so grateful the way you touch me. It feels so good. Thank you. Thank you for being the best partner in the world. Thank you for having my back. Thank you for your text today. It was so much fun to receive it midday. Thanking your partner, being grateful, and affection. We often wait till we're in bed or have time to be in bed to have sex, and we think of that as affection, and it's not. It's touching each other. It's holding each other's hand when you're walking down the street. When the other person is driving, it's stroking maybe their arm. It's, as I mentioned before, when you walk by, kind of touching someone's shoulder. It's making eye contact. Affection is expressing love through touch. And it doesn't have to be sexual, but it needs to be more regular than most people do it. So if one has a multivitamin of the 3 A's every day, that's a really strong way to affair-proof your relationship.
Can a marriage survive the discovery of an affair? I'm wondering how you regain trust once it has been broken.
An affair is devastating. The discovery of an affair is devastating because it breaks down everything you thought you had. Whether we live in the illusion of trust or we've been in denial, once there's an affair, we need to rebuild from the ground up. So it takes work, but you can have a stronger relationship on the other side if each of you want to do it. The person who has had the affair has to show up with regret, real regret and remorse, and wanting to make amends and wanting to rebuild the relationship. And the person who has been betrayed has to do the work to forgive. Not forget, but to forgive, to seek understanding. And then both of you need to work on what went wrong. What were the weaknesses in our relationship? What created this affair? Because you're going to approach it as a team. It's not one person. An affair usually happens because really two people are involved. It's not just usually one louse who, sometimes it is, but often it's because there's been a breakdown in the relationship. So both of you have to find out where the loophole is and both commit to rebuilding it much more strongly. The one who's the cheater, though, has a little more work because they also have to make their life an open book. Cheating comes from secretiveness. It's about, hey, here's the password to my computer, here's my phone, I'm an open book. Because for the partner who's been cheated on or betrayed, to rebuild trust, you have to know, and it takes time, that it's a slow process. And the person who's cheated has to know that it's not, oh, okay, I apologized, you should forgive, let's move on. It takes a lot of consciousness to move on. But if you're both willing to do that work, it's profound what's on the other side.
How can someone stop obsessing about the affair and forgive their ex? I understand that it's going to take some time and attention, but what is a reasonable amount of time? As in, if it's 5 years and you're still grilling your ex or your current spouse daily about every detail of the affair, is this healthy? If not, how can you move on and forgive?
Well, we have to remember, if we've been the ones betrayed, that forgiveness is for ourselves. It's less for our partner and it's more for ourselves, because when we're not forgiving, we are doing emotional replays, we're doing mental replays, we're living in fear, we're living in anger, and we're living in blame. And that's a sucky place to live. That is awful for ourselves. We think we're punishing our partner. We're not. We're punishing ourselves. Every time we go through, well, what about when he said this, but he was really doing this? Boy, do I feel like a fool. Oh my God, could he do it again? We're just torturing ourselves. So, there's a reasonable amount of time to be in shock, because it's a grief process. To be in shock, to wonder, to question. There's going to be questions that come up here or there. That time you did this, or, were you cheating on me? I mean, that's going to come up, but at some point in time, and it's not years, you're going to have to move into a place in yourself that going, I'm not doing this to myself anymore. I'm going to forgive him or her, and I have to let this go. I'm going to be smarter. I'm going to be wiser. This will never happen to me again. This is what my partner needs to do, but I am not going to torture myself anymore with this. I am not going to put myself through the ringer. I deserve more. So forgiveness is for you. It's really not for your partner. And, your partner benefits by your forgiveness, but more importantly, it's that you choose to give up the suffering and you choose peace inside yourself.
You have said that there are 5 sentences that heal all emotional wounds. What are they and how do they work?
Okay. There's 5 sentences, but they have to be said sincerely, right? Because they have to come from the utmost integrity inside you. But here they are. Because this really is what I love you, what it means. I'm here. You're important. We matter. I'm not going anywhere because I'm here for you. And we can work this out. And when those sentences, because I'm getting chills now just saying it, when those sentences are said and meant, you can get through anything. And sometimes one partner has to get there before the other one does. It's like if the partnership is drowning, but one person can step into that place of, I don't want to go anywhere because I love you and you matter to me and we are important and this is important and I only want you. You can get through anything.
How do you bring the love, excitement, and intimacy back to a relationship after there's been infidelity?
It's to bring the love and intimacy back. It really is about becoming best friends. It's talking to each other. There's such relief in finally being honest. No more tiptoeing. It's making plans together. It's keeping it fresh. It's not doing the same old, same old. It's doing things that are new. It's rediscovering each other. Like what do you like? When we got together, when we got married, this is what you like, but what do you like now? What turns you on? It's being experimental with life and discovering each other anew. Because it isn't the same old anymore. You're starting again and you're choosing each other again. And what will make this relationship so fantastic? What will make this relationship work? Because it's now doing the opposite of what happened before to create the disillusion and the dissolution. And so it's becoming best friends. It's having a plan of things that you are going to do together. It's developing mutual interests together. It's sitting and talking and telling your truth. That will start rebuilding you strong. It will make the foundation and the rootedness strong, especially choosing each other after this earthquake and truly committing to love one another. It might even be getting remarried, maybe not officially, but having vows again to remarry with a new depth and meaning of what it means to hold, to love, to be loyal to each other. And it's redefining everything so that you're both living with the same understanding from this point on. That's all. Simple, right?
Incredibly simple, and yet so hard to actually bring into being.
Yes. But with love, I'm not a big believer like with love conquers all, because I think that's an illusion. But it's almost like I live in LA, and I remember when we had a very big earthquake here. My kids were small, and suddenly just one, all the crap didn't matter anymore. What mattered was each other, and what mattered was love, and what mattered was surviving the crisis and the chaos together, because really suddenly the furniture didn't matter, the stuff didn't matter, I wanted to be out of the house. I wanted just to be with my family. And sometimes it takes this earthquake, this kind of earthquake, to help you value once again what's really, really, really important. So my hope for all the listeners and people who are watching this is know what's important. Maybe it's before infidelity for you. Really start realigning with what's important to me. And if there is distance in your relationship, if there's any chasm, start reaching your hand across. Start saying to your partner, I love you, you matter to me, we are important, I am here. And we can work through whatever comes up. We can work through this. And there will be a difference. And start giving each other the 3 A's, attention, appreciation, and affection every day. And watch what happens.
My guest today has been Dr. Sherry Myers, a licensed marriage and family therapist based in Los Angeles, California. Her compassionate, practical, straight talk, and easy-to-apply methods have inspired and helped thousands of men and women to face and overcome their most complex and daunting life, relationship, and sexual challenges. For a free chapter from her book, Chatting or Cheating, more helpful articles, and videos, please visit her website, drsherry.com. Thank you so much for this fascinating and really helpful session, Dr. Sherry.
Oh, thank you for having me on, Diana. It was a pleasure.
We hope that you found this session helpful and useful, no matter what stage of your relationship or relationship breakdown you're in right now. We have lots more video and podcasts to share with you. In fact, you probably noticed that there's 3 appearing at the bottom of your screen right now. If you click on one of them, you can start your next class right away. Thank you for watching.